You mean to tell me that there are people living in the mountains? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Aiden said that he lives in the mountains.
All right, so I live in the Appalachian Mountain.
Okay, so he's a psychopath. Because right now it just sounds like some beautiful forest I want to live on. Feel me? Do I want to live in the Appalachian Mountains? Maybe. Maybe. So you admit that there is weird shit going on, just not the weird shit that people think is going on. Hey YouTube, how's it going on that side of the screen? I hope all is going well. This is a few days after my Mr. Beast reaction video. I'm still sick, can't lie to you. I could probably hear by the sound of my voice, or from occasion I'm gonna be coughing during the reactions. But anyways, yeah, we reacting today. I got a few videos I'm gonna be reacting to today. I haven't started up stream yet, so yeah, I'm gonna be reacting to those on stream, but I just came to say what's up. Yeah, I'm still sick, so I apologize, you know, if my audio is a bit low. I upped the gain because as I was recording the Mr. Beast video, I peeped the video was louder than me. But yeah, I upped the gain. I don't know how loud it's gonna be. It didn't sound like y'all could hear me last video. Right now it's showing me that it's in the red, so if y'all can hear me and I'm f***ing y'all ears up, I apologize. Yeah, let's just stop talking and let's just get straight into the video. I'm gonna boot stream up and we'll get, you know, straight into the reaction. So I'll see you soon, YouTube. I will see you very, very soon. So first video today, right? It's a calm little video. I don't know if it's a scary video. Hopefully it's not a scary video, you know. I don't do well with scary games, scary videos. But we got a little video called Why the Appalachian Mountains Are Deceptively Dangerous. Now, I've heard a lot of stories about the Appalachian Mountains, you know, a lot of them bad, scary, you know, that's why I'm not sure if this is a scary video. But you know, our boy Aiden Robbins made a video explaining why the Appalachian Mountains are dangerous. So let's just get into the video and see why they're dangerous. Talk to me, Aiden Ross.
So I live in the Appalachian Mountains. If you've heard anything about them, it's probably this.
The search area has expanded as the days stretch into a full week since the youngster was reported missing.
If you hear something in the woods, no you didn't.
No you didn't. Keep walking. You do not want to be outside when the sun goes down.
Something very strange seems to be going on inside of national parks.
Lately I've seen these videos.
So yeah, Aiden, you were completely right, because I just said anytime I've heard about the Appalachian Mountains, there's always something bad. So yeah.
There's all over social media talking about the long history of people vanishing on the Appalachian Trail and in the mountain range that's named after. And what might be causing those disappearances? Secret National Park Service projects, feral cannibal people, Bigfoot, skinwalkers.
Anything, boy.
For a long time by these creatures.
What?
Bigfoot is from...
That's a baboon. Stop talking to me about these Satan monkeys, boy.
For a long time by these creatures. They're called...
This is a baboon. You've never seen a baboon before? What?
Devil monkeys.
Bigfoot is from the Pacific Northwest and skinwalkers are from the Southwest, but that's beside the point.
And baboons are from Africa, bro.
The Pacific Northwest and skinwalkers are from the Southwest, but that's beside the point.
I could be wrong. Hold on. Where are... Native to Africa. Stop talking. I'm an archaeologist, okay?
These mountains have a rich history of folklore, and it can be really interesting to get into that, but these videos can often disrespect the people who have gone missing in these mountains and the people who live in them.
It details their experience with the...
Hold on. 1 minute into the video, I've paused how many times? I don't know if y'all can hear the siren outside, but you mean to tell me that there are people living in the mountains? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Aiden said that he lives in the mountains.
All right, so I live in the Appalachian Mountain.
Okay, so he's a psychopath.
And the people who live in them.
It details their experience with the mountain people.
Feral, rumored to be cannibalistic men that lived in East Tennessee in the woods.
Generations of people who have like grown up living in these like caves of national parks.
So naturally, I started reading, trying to figure out why people go missing in my...
Hold on, like you were born there or you just willingly chose to move?
backyard, and what makes these mountains feel so strange and eerie. The science and history that I found along the way is frankly more interesting than any conspiracy theory, but it also completely changed the way that I see these mountains. I was left more aware of the dangers lurking in them, but also of their beauty. And
if there's a spot known to have the amount of dangers that the Appalachian Mountains have, I will not be able to see any beauty within them. That's probably a bad thing. You know, you should be able to see the beauty in anything, but the Appalachian Mountains, all I think about is scary stuff. You feel me? All I think about when I hear Appalachian Mountains is, you know, dark, scary creatures, you know?
And what sets them apart from any other mountain range on Earth?
Okay. So talk to me, Aiden Robbins. What sets them apart from every other mountain range on Earth?
Most people think of the Appalachians as this area in the south, but they actually extend all the way up to this tiny island off the coast of Newfoundland called Belle Isle. You've probably heard that these mountains are some of the oldest on Earth. They started forming about half a billion with a B years ago. That's pre-Pangea, pre-dinosaur. Fish had just appeared. It started out with one tectonic plate sliding under another, forming massive stratovolcanoes, but those mountains were eventually eroded down into basically just gravel. Then 400 million years ago, those same two plates slammed back into each other, this time forming huge, jagged peaks.
Damn.
And then about 290 million years ago, Africa slammed into North America, shoving these mountains inland, rolling and folding them over each other, exposing rock hundreds of millions of years old to form one of the most geologically complex mountain ranges on Earth. Since then, wind, water, and ice have carved these mountains into what they are today.
Okay.
And they continue to do so. Let's start with wind. Just look at Mount Washington in New Hampshire, one of the coldest and windiest places on Earth. The weather station at the top has recorded a 28-foot snowpack, negative 47 degree Fahrenheit temperatures, and a negative 108 degree Fahrenheit wind chill just a few months ago. At least 130 people have died on this mountain, and it's such a tough climb that it's used to train for Denali and even Everest. Needless to say, I think the weather out here gets a bit more intense than people give it credit for. Next.
It gets more intense than what you just stated it gets? Minus 108 Fahrenheit? You're telling me it gets worse than that?
Fahrenheit temperatures and a negative 108 degree Fahrenheit wind chill.
Well, what?
Needless to say, I think the weather out here gets a bit more intense than people give it credit for. Next,
How?
The southern Appalachian Mountains contain the rainiest places in the US outside of the Pacific Northwest, as much as 230 centimeters in some areas. Heavy rains have caused massive floods that cascaded through the mountains, carving deep gorges.
Okay.
It also allowed for the growth of a lush temperate rainforest containing thousands of species, many of them found nowhere else on Earth. And finally, ice.
So the Appalachian Mountains have their own fucking
the
species.
northern Appalachians were buried under massive glaciers. As the glaciers advanced, plants and animals native to the north migrated south to escape extinction. When the glaciers retreated and the climate warmed, those species moved to higher elevations, looking for the colder conditions they were used to. A lot of species ended up stuck on mountaintops with no way of migrating elsewhere, evolving into a web of species found only here and some only on individual summits. Now you go up to the mountaintops here in the south and you'll find a landscape that feels a lot more like Canada. These are often described as biological islands, time capsules of a landscape that was widespread during the Ice Age. These mountains provided a habitat for huge...
No, I'm not gonna lie, okay? If y'all heard my brother screaming in the background, I apologize. But right now, the Appalachian Mountains sound very beautiful. So how do they get deceptively dangerous? Because right now it just sounds like some beautiful forest I want to live on. Feel me? Do I want to live in the Appalachian Mountains? Maybe. Maybe. Based off of everything you're telling me, maybe. It just sounds mad beautiful to live. Come winter time, maybe go somewhere else, but then come back. You know what I'm saying?
Groups of bison and elk, packs of wolves, mountain lions, and lynx, and flocks of birds like passenger pigeons, which were likely the most numerous bird on Earth, traveling in flocks numbering in the billions. And what's cool is that
No, there is no possible... In the billions? Flocks of birds moving in the billions. my boy, you would not even be able to see the sky. You'll look up, bro. You can't. The sun is not passing through those flocks of birds in the billions. That's just, no, I refuse to believe that. I'm sorry.
The ecology is wildly inconsistent. At the far north, you would find an Arctic tundra complete with caribou, Arctic foxes, polar bears, and this guy, the great auk. Basically a penguin. These mountains were also home to people, a diverse quilt of hundreds of indigenous cultures living in the valleys for thousands of years. The landscapes of the Appalachians are some of the most complex and biodiverse on Earth. And with that complexity comes interdependence. Upset the balance just a bit and things fall apart quickly.
Okay.
European settlers first arrived
So they
here
was
in the late 1400s,
beefing.
but these mountains provided a huge barrier to expansion, and for the first couple centuries, they didn't even try crossing over them. The first people to inhabit the higher elevations were actually indigenous groups, pushed out of the valleys by settlers and the diseases they brought, and forced to take refuge in the mountains. But in the 1700s, the East Coast started getting crowded, and settlers started to move inland, once again pushing indigenous groups out and into the plains to the west.
Damn.
The first explorers to cross the mountains describe an infinitely complex landscape of steep slopes choked with dense vegetation and days of darkness under the canopy above.
Oh,
Even
hell
Daniel
no.
Boone, who's like the Appalachian explorer guy, described the slopes as, quote, so wild and horrid that it is impossible to behold them without terror.
Nah.
When these settlers first arrived, the mountains were almost entirely covered by old-growth forest, containing trees over 8 feet
that
wide.
is a big ass tree. He just said 8 feet wide, by the way. Okay? 8 feet wide. That's longer than my wingspan. I don't know how long my wingspan is, but it's definitely not 8 feet. So you wouldn't even be able to hug it all the way. How tall, by the way?
Wide and 260 feet tall.
What the fuck is this bug in my room doing, bro? I thought I killed it earlier. This shit just flying around. But 200 and what?
Growth forest, containing trees over 8 feet wide and 260 feet tall.
260 feet. I doubt any of these actually measured to 260 feet. Probably, I don't know. But a fucking tree? This height, bro? A tree that height is outrageous, bro. I mean, look, bro, they look mad small compared to...
The timber industry exploded in the Appalachians.
What?
But in the 1800s, a timber industry exploded in the Appalachians,
Oh, no.
harvesting just about all of these forests. Logging
What,
companies
bro?
scooped up huge amounts of land, getting absolutely loaded while paying people next to nothing to move into the mountains and clear that land.
Bro,
These loggers
what?
worked long hours exposed to the elements, surviving on rations and packed in large groups into temporary shelters. And as the industry grew, railroads and burns to clear the land caused wildfires that engulfed thousands of square miles of forest.
This forest around me is one of the only old-growth forests left in...
Yo, bro, I don't know why humans do the things that they do, bro. Like, something as beautiful as that, bro. Just leave it be. I don't know they came over here and destroyed all this shit. They probably the reason why these creatures came out. The creatures were probably living all peacefully, and then these humans started... you know, taking down all these trees, and the creature said, all right, we're gonna make them not want to come back to the Appalachian Mountains. It's probably what happened.
Appalachian mountain range, and one of the only places on this side of the country where you can come and find just like a really big old tree like this guy. Pretty much all of the area surrounding this forest was clear cut, but the logging companies cutting it down went bankrupt before they could get to this spot at the bottom of the valley. And then a few years later, a wildfire blew through and knocked out a bunch of land, but also missed this spot. So out of pretty much sheer luck, we have this really cool little area where you can come and get kind of a glimpse into what most of this forest would have looked like a couple hundred years ago.
Logging, mining, and damming in the mountains drove many species to extinction, including the passenger pigeon and the great auk, and drove many others out of the region. Bison, salmon, elk, caribou, and polar bears, just to name a few. Big predators like bears and lynx had it particularly bad because people kind of just didn't like them and hunted them down for the hell of it.
Like, bro,
Industry,
what?
of course, came with pollution, which contaminated the waterways and even the air. At higher elevation, there's often this beautiful fog, but it's wildly acidic from sulfur and nitrogen emissions. Acid rain, fog, and snow have...
Aiden, why are you there? Why do you live there? Horrible spot to be living right now, bro. Before, it sounded beautiful, yeah, but now this shit just sound dirty and gross.
And a huge problem here, weakening the higher elevation ecosystems and cutting plant growth in half in some areas. European settlement also brought invasive parasites. All over the Appalachians, you'll see these ghost forests, skeletons of entire tree species wiped out by parasites.
What the fuck?
Just decades after they got huge, the logging and mining industries collapsed, leaving behind a ruined landscape.
Like y'all did all of that shit just to still not be successful, bro. Like
rocky terrain that wasn't really any good for farming. With no money and no good roads, these communities were pretty much trapped in the mountains. That isolation led to the development of a unique culture and folklore unlike anything else in the country. Combine that with the way that these mountains and their inhabitants have often been portrayed in movies, TV, and other media, and the cultural image of the Appalachians kind of starts to take shape. There's also just a spooky vibe here. Like, we know that the mountains are old, but you can also just feel it. The boulders, the twisted...
If you can feel a spooky vibe, then there is no defending that shit, buddy. If you go there and you just feel like, damn, what the fuck? Sorry, bro, that is not a good place to be. You know what I mean?
Trees, the fog, it can be a bit eerie. It's honestly not that surprising that people think this is a creepy place where weird stuff just happens all the time. But it isn't. It's a place with a unique, and I'll be the first to admit, sometimes quite off-putting culture and centuries of folklore. But that doesn't mean there are cannibals or skinwalkers hiding in the caves, kidnapping unsuspecting hikers.
So you admit that there is weird shit going on, just not the weird shit that people think is going on. Like, yeah, you know, the Appalachian Mountains are weird and shit, but there's no cannibals that lure people into their caves and eat them. But yeah, it is weird and eerie up here, I can't lie. Like, that's what you're trying to say right now?
The Appalachians have this reputation as spooky and haunted, but they also have a reputation as kind of the wimpy mountains on the other side of the country.
Aiden, not to be that guy. I'm not trying to, you know, downput all your research, but who the fuck calls the Appalachian Mountains the wimpy mountains? You started off your video, my boy, stating, oh, if you heard of the Appalachian Mountains, then you probably heard stories of and then listed horrible stories, and then you're gonna say that people call them the wimpy mountains?
As kind of the wimpy mountains on the other side of the country. But honestly, my biggest takeaway from making this video has been that these mountains are a lot more intense than people give them credit for.
Yo, he keeps on saying they're more than what people give them credit for. I'm not understanding why he keeps on saying that, because he literally said that the credit that people give them are to be mountains of evil, mountains of cannibalism, scary creatures, you know, mountains of people going missing. And then he says stuff like, but these mountains are more intense than people give them credit for. Bro, they're more intense than everything I just stated. Like, I don't know if he's trying to defend the Appalachian Mountains or if he's agreeing with what everybody's saying.
Sure, they're not as big as the Rockies or the Cascades, but this terrain is steep and overgrown, difficult to navigate, with weather that can go south really fast. You're probably familiar with the Appalachian Trail, which runs through a big stretch of these mountains. The AT is about 450 miles shorter than the Pacific Crest Trail out west, but it typically takes people a few weeks longer to complete. This terrain is just deceptively challenging.
I heard of the Appalachian Trail.
It was 400 years ago, and it still is today. It's easy to get lost or injured, and hard to get found. The dense forest and steep terrain make it difficult for search parties to cover ground, and nearly impossible for planes or helicopters to spot someone beneath the canopy below.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see anybody there, bro.
Aren't as large as others.
Like, look, let's say you trapped right here, somewhere right here, bro, and this is a helicopter looking for you, bro. Let's say like you got lost, right, and people sent a search party out for you. How is a helicopter seeing you here, bro? or here. You gotta climb this skinny ass tree or whatever and feel me, start yo, because you're not being found here, bro. That's why so many people go missing. That's why we don't know what creatures live here. I'm telling you, bro.
But that doesn't mean they aren't just as dangerous.
What did he just say, bro?
These mountains aren't as large as others, but that doesn't mean they aren't just as dangerous.
Like, yeah, he has definitely not tried to defend them this video, bro. Like, okay, yeah, he defended them at the beginning, but
just as this landscape continues to present plenty of threats and hazards today, it continues to face plenty of threats and hazards of its own. Mountaintop removal for mining has literally blown thousands of square miles of mountains to pieces. Fracking for natural gas here contaminates groundwater and rivers.
Damn.
And climate change is causing ecosystems to migrate to higher elevations, which isn't great for the ones that are already stuck on the tops of mountains, like the biological islands we talked about earlier. But a lot of
you really would not be able to see nobody in those trees.
As the forest that was cut down 200 years ago has grown back and been more carefully regulated, many of the species that went with it have been returning too.
Hey!
Moose, bald eagles, bears, hell yeah, who doesn't like bears? And other species have been deliberately reintroduced, like elk, many of which were imported from Wyoming.
Okay.
Honestly, the more I learn about these mountains, the more I appreciate them.
You know by yourself, right? You're not in the Appalachian Mountains by yourself in a camera, right? Boy, all it takes is for one skinwalker to be right here, looking at you climb this rock, be like, yeah, that's my dinner for tonight. Or one whatever fucking skinwalker with perfect eyesight, like binoculars, seeing you from this mountain over here, and just and then start sprinting 78 miles per hour, just, you know, to you. I don't know, bro.
As the home to some of the rarest and most biodiverse ecosystems on Earth, as one of the planet's longest running projects, and as just a really beautiful place.
I mean, beautiful during the daytime, I'll give you that, you know. Beautiful when it's not raining and foggy, you know, I'll give you that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, right now it look beautiful and shit. You know, if I didn't know the history of it, it looks nice. It looks cute. Don't show it to me at night, though. Promise you, it won't look as beautiful to me at night. Promise you. That was a good little video, though. Aiden Robbins. Whoa! That's why I don't like watch later, bro. It just be playing the next video. I hate that. This was a calm little video, though. Aiden Robbins. This is a calm vid, you know? The Appalachian Mountains are still dangerous. Yeah, you didn't really change my mind about it, to be honest. You just let me know about the history and the lore about the Appalachian Mountains. But, you know, all the stories that I hear about it, it seems like a right place for those type of stories to happen. Not in a bad way. I'm not saying any of those things are good, you know, any of the things that happen. I'm not saying that those things are good. I'm just saying, like, the Appalachian Mountains seems like the type of place for those things to happen. That's what I meant to say. Good video though, Aiden. Thanks for letting me know more about the Appalachian Mountains. It didn't change my opinion on them though. But yeah, appreciate it. It was still a good video though. Still a good video. On to the next.